And Toretta intercepted by Teague. George Teague to the end zone. Touchdown. Hall is now right in the middle. That says blitz. Passes away, penalty flag down. Lamar Thomas has got it. Lamar Thomas is on his way down the sideline. George Teague is after him and runs him down. Takes the ball away from him. Teague's got the ball. And they tackle Teague back up to 12. Game's over. Alabama defeats Miami. Number 2 beats number 1, 34-13.
Blitz on from the 1. And they throw a fade right side of the end zone for Owens. He got both feet in. Touchdown catch over the shoulder. Here we go. They're going to have a big fight. There goes Owens. Puts it down. Teague levels it.
Here it goes.
And now Teague is aimed at by an offensive lineman. Flozell Adams pulls Teague away. And Owens is waved to the bench. And he stands in the middle of the star and holds the ball out.
Let me tell you something, Brad. Terrell Owens started. Emmett Smith went out to the 50, trumped him. Now Terrell Owens comes back, and George Teague said, you know what, I'm not going to take this. Good for George Teague.
Hello, everybody, and welcome into another edition of Teague's Take Podcast alongside George and JT. As always, I'm IndyCar Tim, and we welcome everybody watching on Facebook, watching on YouTube, and, of course, the folks over on Periscope. And we've got a big college football week again. Lots going on in the Big Ten, lots going on with the Rose Bowl, lots going on with coaches getting fired in the NFL, a little bit of college coaches getting fired down there in Alabama, and we're going to get into all of that in due time. But we've got another special guest, so special we need to jump right into it. George, tell us about your buddy, Mighty Mouse.
Man, let me tell you something. And at first, before we get into too much to him, I got to tell him right now because I was just on another podcast about 2 hours before the show, actually. I was on with Marvin Constant, who played look at him trying to put these glasses on because he got to be able to see. But, hey, I was hanging out with Antonio Langham, Kevin Lee, and Mark, yes, sir. So we did talk a little bit of DB stuff. So me and Mark go back a long ways, man. We played football at the University of Alabama together. We were really tight. Good friend of mine, good friend of the family. Just, an amazing dude. He has a big heart. Obviously, he likes to cook. He likes to grill. He likes to do all of it. He likes to teach. I think the thing that I like the most is he really has heart for kids and children and trying to help them to get to college and do things of that nature. So he spent 8 years in the league as well, locking it down, man. Original member of the X-Clan. Some people remember who the X-Clan is back in the day. Yes, sir. I got to throw it them X's. See, Bart, I'll go ahead and start with that because it makes me mad every time, right? Me and Consuela talk about it all the time. Dez got out here, started throwing up this X, and everybody was going crazy, right? Yeah. I'm like, hey, hold up, man. We were throwing this X up a long time ago, right? Yeah. So do you remember how the X got started, man? How did we even get throwing up the X? You and Dirty Harry and all them fools, man.
Yeah, I don't even know how it got started. It just to be honest, I don't know, man. But we made it hot, man. It was like, we down south in T-Town. We had hats, we had wristbands with X's on them, and the fans started getting behind it. Obviously the group X-Clan as well. But man, it just took off, man. And that was back in the 90s. And I said the same time, I was like, why is everybody talking about Dez Bryant? I saw Charlie Gardner doing it when he was with the Eagles. And I was like, wait a minute, bro. We was doing that in the 90s. We're throwing up the X's, even on special teams, like everybody, was just throwing up the X's, and it just snowballed, man, just to see like Lamaski and Whammy, those guys go down and get a big hit. First thing they do is jump up and throw up the X's.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I know Tim and JT looking at us like, what the hell are they talking about with these X's?
I know. My man T.O. and Kay Lee, if y'all out there listening, man, I know Kay Lee probably still nervous of what we used to do to them in practice in one-on-one, but he's still my guy.
Well, he did tell the truth. He did tell the truth. They asked Kaylee about that on the show. It was the Riley and Constant show, it's called. And they did ask Kevin Lee, what was it like going against the DBs at Alabama? He held true and just said, hey, he didn't have anything bad to say. He just knew that if he could beat us in practice, that they could beat anybody. So I give him his props for that.
Okay, I didn't want to call him out. I was like, come on now. But, it was like pick your poison. Who you want? T.O.T., Dirty, me, Shade, Tommy Johnson. We were loaded back there, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We were. We made a lot of big plays. So, when you think of your playing days and you're getting back there, specifically for Alabama, and we'll talk about your journey to Alabama, because I think that's important. That's very inspirational and people need to hear it. But what game sticks out for you the most, for you particularly, that your biggest game at Alabama? What game would you say that would have been?
Coming from a JUCO, coming from playing in front of 300 people to playing in Tuscaloosa, 60, 70,000, man, that was like a big shock for me. And I wrote, I was just on special teams for a while, and I was just like, man, I got to just find my way. Coach Stallings, he wasn't giving up no positions, and just getting that first start, I think against Vanderbilt when we played them in Tuscaloosa, they ran that that kind of like that option offense with one wideout, which was Corey Harris. Yep. And that was my first opportunity. Coach Oliver said, hey, we're going to see what you got. And, we played, that was pretty much man-to-man the whole game. There was no help over there. You guys are in the box trying to stop the run. And it was just me and Corey Harris for the whole game. And I think once I, got through to that game and started building up confidence, that was probably like a highlight for me, man, just being like, okay, all the accolades from junior college, but, this is the big leagues. This is real deal. And this is SEC football. And, that was probably like, I would say my eye opener, like, man, this is the real deal. And, getting that opportunity and having Coach Oliver and Coach Stallings believe in me and continue to keep me in the lineup. Man, it was after that, it was like, let's go.
Can I throw a game out there at you, Mark? Can I throw a game out there at you? How about Tennessee Chattanooga 1991?
Oh, man, that game, shoot, I wasn't even in the game. My head was somewhere totally different, man. I know the guys played a prank on me that week. Charles Gardner, the guys, they're like, man, I got this fine girl. She's coming in town. She wants to meet you and, whatever. And I'm like, okay, all week I'm excited. Like, man, I got a little shorty coming to the game, want to check me out. And come to find out, man, it was, my mom was in town and I didn't even know it. And she was staying at Teague's and Consuela's place. And everybody knew it but me. And, and then I didn't even know it till it was my mom and my little brother, Reggie. It was up until the game time, and everybody's like, man, the girl is over there. Check her out. She's at the gate. And I haven't seen my mom in like a year and a half because, I had to stay back and go to summer school. So it was, there was no FaceTime and there was no, Zoom calls. So, I haven't seen my mom in over a year. And after that, I was like done. And I think I went out and had probably the worst first half in my life. Coach Oliver, he was tearing me a new one on the phone, and I was like, man. And I was, he was like, man, if you don't get your bleep up in order, I'm gonna sit you on the bench. He's like, what the hell has gotten into you? I was to myself, like, man, I just saw my mom, and obviously, I got my bearings straight, and on that long drive, I was like, man, I got to make something happen. I've been slacking. And, me, I was always a gambler. And I was like, man, I know George is going to be there. I know Stacy is going to handle his business. And, it was just up to me to make a play. And, they threw the ball and I got an opportunity to make a big-time play. And you see my man, George Teague, he was right behind me, on that interception. So that was a cool little moment for me, man, to have that record for a while. And, Mika Fitzpatrick did break it. But no better guy to break it than that young man as well.
Nice. Good memory.
Yeah, it is.
Mika Fitzpatrick, by the way, representing Alabama well up there in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, he is, man.
I'm proud of that.
I know a lot of people are talking about DBU and wide receiver U, but I think they really forgot that, we had some guys in the league that was even before us. We had John Mangum was in the league. So it's like we didn't just start doing this. We've been putting out DBs for a long time.
He was the first Seahorn. John Mangum was the first Seahorn, baby.
Yeah. He was cold. He was cold-blooded. I was like, man, this dude can play.
Yes, sir, man. That was someone I definitely looked up to when I came in, just watching the footwork. And that's one of the things that I really admired about you was your feet. I think we take little pieces from others. I know I do when you're watching. No different when I got in the league. When we're in college, I was looking at, man, how does he get out of his break like that? You hear stick and click and all this other kind of stuff. But when you get to see it and you get to see someone coming out of their breaks like you were, it's very inspirational to be able to see, man, my feet got to look like that. So how did you really fine tune your stuff like that, your feet to get like that, even prior to coming to Alabama?
Well, running in the streets of South Central, man, you develop some quick feet. You got to run from the streets, man. You got to run from the gangbangers and all the other stuff, man. But I was just blessed with some God-given ability, man, that, a lot of people wasn't blessed with. And, I wasn't big, or I wasn't tall. And sometimes I was like, man, if I was 6 feet or 6'1", I would have, I'll be a better player. But, guys like, man, if I had your feet, so it was just a give and take. And, it was just something I knew, like, okay, I'm not going to be a 6-foot DB. So you got to really work on your technique, work on positioning yourself to be able to combat these bigger and stronger receivers. And that was something that I've just worked on all the time. And even looking at the games today, you see these DBs are first thing they're doing, there's no back pedal. It's lack of technique. Everybody wants to just turn and run. The ball goes in the air, and it's like they just lost. It's like, where have we gone as far as defensive backs that our technique is so bad that we're in position to make plays, and those guys are just not making those plays, but they're making a ton of money. I'm like, good Lord, Mom, I was a little too early.
So why don't we talk about that and your story of getting there, because most people don't understand the journey that you had to take to get there. And I've heard it multiple times, right? And when you've heard it, when you have had speeches with different groups and different things, and we do tend to have some aspiring high school kids who listen to the show and things of that nature. And nowadays, Mark, it is of my opinion, and JT probably can share some of this, right, is that kids don't want to work the same like we used to, or they're tied up into certain trainers or certain things that are maybe telling them not the truth sometimes about the talent level. So what about you, man? You said it. You were a smaller guy. You had to come in. You were fighting the streets and tough. What motivated you? Was it mom? Was it personal stuff? What was the mindset for you, to make a difference for you and your family?
I just wanted to get out of that situation. Grew up, didn't, never got a chance to know my dad. Don't know my dad. He could probably walk in to be the mailman today, and I'll be like, who is this dude? But, just try to better myself, man. I knew in the streets, I was always the kid that everybody kind of looked out for, stayed away from the drugs and the violence. Even when I tried to, go over there and, maybe scrap or fight at the park, the guys was like, we call them OGs, the big old heads. So they're always like, man, go back to the crib. You got something different that we seen you that, we messed up. We can't go back and go back to high school or have that opportunity, because there was a lot of guys way bigger than me, way faster than me, way more talented than me growing up in our neighborhood. And I was just one that, just stayed focused, man, stayed on the grind. And my brothers and sisters always looked out for me, aunts and uncles. And, my mom was, a big supporter. And, I was like, man, there's someday. And I told my brother we used to play rough, tough football in the front yard. And I told him, I was like, man, one day I'm going to make it to the National Football League. And I was probably like 8 or 9. And he was like, okay, all right, you talking that trash, but bro, you still wearing some corduroys and some 501 blue jeans. But I always man just used to watch. Grew up a Steelers fan and a Raiders fan, and from Mel Blount to Lester Hayes, watching those guys. The Rams with Leeward Irvin, the Browns with Minifield and Dixon. Those are two of guys that I probably really try to focus and pattern my game after. Minifield and Dixon, they were smaller guys, but they really got after it. And just going through, Pop Warner football, a lot of people don't know, man. I was the water boy before the water boy. I got cut from I've never heard that. And I always tell that story, man. I was like, and I tell kids, have you ever heard anybody get cut from Pop Warner? They're like, no, everybody makes the team. I'm the guy, and I got the trophy. I think the trophy, it's either here or at my mom's house. It says, it says trainer, athletic trainer on there. It didn't say water boy. So, even they said I was too small. And I was like, what? So in order to keep myself out of the streets, man, and away from the violence, I used to go to practice every day and, had my water bottle. Guys were tired. Same guys I was playing in the park with. And, traveling on the bus, with my water bottle, timeouts come, and who's running out there? I'm the water guy. And, so that just really just irked me too, man. I was like, man, there's no way that I can't play with these guys. The same guys I'm playing with in the park and in the streets, they get an opportunity and I don't get an opportunity because they said I was too small. But, just going on to high school, I didn't play until my senior year of high school. Just like, man, these guys are big, they're fast, they're strong. I'm in the stands with the girls with my Jerry curls dripping down, cheering on the guys. And my mom said, my senior year came, and my mom was like, she's like, what are you going to do? You're always talking about how good you are and, you want to play football and how tough you are. And she's like, because we ain't got no money for you to go to college. So you need to figure out a way that you're going to get an opportunity that somebody pays for your education. And, went out for my senior year and, I think I was probably like second stream. The guy that was on the other side was Deion Lambert, who actually, got drafted to the league. One of our safeties, Tony Brown, he got drafted to the league. We had a defensive lineman, Keely Calhoun. He made it to the league. So we had about 5 or 6 guys on that defensive side of the ball that played in the National Football League. We had a really talented team. And my senior year, made it through. Was scared to death. Every time I went out there, I was like, man, what am I doing out here? These dudes is big. They're fast. And I was just faster than those guys and able to keep up, and went to JUCO because I didn't get any scholarship offers or anything like that. Ran track my senior year, ran against Quincy Watts, who actually won a gold medal for the USA, and I wasn't running against him. He was running away from everybody. I was just there. But the track coach came to me after I won the city track meet in the 100 and 200. I think my time was like 10.6. I ran like 21.2 in the 200. After running, I think I ran like 7 or 8 meets because I was ineligible. But go to JUCO and for 2 years at Glendale Junior College in California, and under John Sacudo, who's like a father figure to me that I still talk to this day. And freshman year, man, I probably only played maybe 5 or 6 games. Because there were guys in front of me that they were trying to get out and get scholarships for. And at one point, I actually took off my pads in practice and threw them down and said I quit. I was just so frustrated that I wasn't getting an opportunity. And I was like, man, I'm working on my craft. I'm busting my tail. I just want to freaking play. My mom is traveling all over, LA to, all these junior college games. And I'm sitting on the bench. I'm like, man, this freaking sucks. So, once that happened and the coach grabbed me by the back of my neck and, he said some things that I know it's a friendly show, I can't say, but, it resonated to me real well. And after that, I got the opportunity to play, and, after that, I think it was like 5 or 6 games, man. And then my sophomore year and the rankings came up. I was a preseason All-American after 5 games. So you could just imagine I was trying to hit everything. I was knocking everything down. I was like, man, I begged for this opportunity, so I got to make the best of it. And end up making the junior college All-American. And the other guy that was actually on that same All-American team was Dale Carter. And, didn't know it back then. I was like, man, who's this guy from other junior college? Just, Dale Carter. And, obviously going to Alabama, then playing against Dale Carter. And I was like, man, you was the same guy that, we both made, junior college All-American. And, Dale was crazy back there. He said, I don't know you, brother. And of course, Tennessee, they weren't going to talk to us anyway. So, so it just worked out, man. I originally signed with the University of Pittsburgh coming out of college. And, for all the high school kids that's out there listening, you can have all the offers you want, all the stars, all the accolades. If you're not getting it done academically in the classroom, all that stuff is just hype. And, you see so much today, guys tweeting out, I got 20 offers, and signing day, they got 8 or 9 hats sitting on the table. It's like, you can only go to one school, you ain't got to make it a show or anything like that. And, I didn't pass a math class my junior year, and I had to go back to school for a whole nother semester just because I was feeling myself, thinking I made it, thought I was the big shot, and I'm All-American. I got a first guy going to college in our family, a full ride. Mom don't have to pay for anything. And, that was the worst feeling, man, going home and telling my mom, it was a Friday I took the test. I was leaving the next day on Saturday to go to Pittsburgh, and bags were packed. We had the family barbecue and all that. And seeing her cry, man, that really hurt me, man, just to know I let my mom down after she supported me and drove me all around town, supported my dreams and goals. But, next time I said, man, the next time my mom cries, it's going to be tears of joy. And, obviously I passed the class, and, then all of a sudden, the University of Alabama comes in. It was A.J. Kristoff. He comes in the office, and he said, we want to see some film on Mark McMillian. And, back then I was 5'7", in JUCO. I was like 140 pounds. And I'm saying to myself, like, man, I just watched Alabama play in the Sugar Bowl, on national TV. And I'm thinking, like, why are they coming way to California to get a JUCO guy? And they're loaded. They had Ephraim Thomas, George Teague was on that team. They had some freshmen, Stacey Harrison. They had guys. I was like, I'm Mark McMillian. My coach was kind of shocked too. And they said, we want to see some film. We want to invite him out for a visit. And I'm thinking, like, this is crazy. And I remember, growing up, I was like, man, I want to go to USC. I grew up from down the street from the Coliseum. And USC, they told my coach that we're not gonna take another small guy. We're just gonna pass up on it. And I was like, wow. So, I get to Tuscaloosa. Keith McCants was my host. You can just only imagine what that was like.
Yes, sir.
It was wide open, man. He was wide. He was all gas, no brakes. And, Chris Mims, Bernard Daphne. There was a lot of guys, Leonard Russell. There was a lot of JUCO guys that took that trip. And, we ended up getting into a bar fight one night just over, just imagine, 8 brothers from LA. And all of a sudden we go up in this little nightclub, and, we the only brothers up in there. And, and their girls was like, man, these, they ain't never seen no brothers like that, I guess. So, it turned into a big old fight, and the police came and all that. But, they found out who we were and knew we didn't start it. So, we kind of got away with it. And I can remember, all the guys was like, man, ain't no way we coming to this school, man. These people don't even treat brothers right. And myself, I was like, shoot, y'all got other offers. This is great for me. I was like, man, I'm coming. I'm coming. And, then I get back to California, and who calls? USC calls, say, hey, you want to come visit our campus? And I'm saying to myself, like, I literally grew up probably like 10-minute walk from USC. So I was there all the time. So it wasn't nothing new to me. So, my coach, he was pissed. He was like, you guys sit here and let this guy get on the plane to go to Alabama, and he's right here in your backyard. You say he's too small. And then once Alabama, gave me that offer, and there was no social media, man. Every Pac-10 school in the Pac start calling. University of Miami start calling, and it was just a loyalty, that talked to Coach Curry. I felt real good about it. I knew they had a really good team. It was big time football. Who passes up on Alabama? So I see a lot of guys like, oh, I don't want to go to Alabama, because you don't want to compete. Because if you go there, if you go to Alabama, you're gonna have to compete, and ain't nothing gonna be given to you. So just took that route, and once I signed, I was excited. Like, man, I'm going to T-Town and catch the plane to LAX. And by the time I get to Tuscaloosa, I'm looking at everybody in the dorm, Brian Hall, and everybody's like, man, you're the new guy. I was like, yeah. They're like, you didn't hear? I was like, hear what? I've been on the plane. I was like, man, Coach Curry got fired. I was like, got fired? I was like, wait a minute, bro. I just got on the plane. I just talked to this man. He was excited to see me. Now he fired. So I was like, man, this sucks. So I called my mom. I'm crying. Shoot, I was a big old baby. I was crying. I was like, Mom, I'm ready to come home. And Mom was like, shoot, you ain't coming here. You better suck it up. She's like, shoot, baby, you better suck it up. You ain't coming back here. You got a free opportunity to get an education. And, so just, fought through it. And, obviously Coach Stallings came in, and, we had a really good recruiting class that he brought in. And shoot, I was over there with the walk-ons. I was over there on the practice field. I'm sharing the locker with the walk-ons. I'm in there with Dabble. I think me and Dabble was sharing the locker with another. I don't even know who the other guy was. I was like, man, this is gross, man. Everybody jock strap up in this one locker. I was like, man, I had different color pants, and I was like, and I'm looking at these guys doing one-on-ones and battling it out, KT, and I'm like, man, Saran Stacy. I was like, what is going on? I was like, why am I over here with these freaking scrubs? And, I can't remember what coach said. He said, you need to go talk to Coach Stallings. So I went up there. It was like the Green Mile, bro. I was scared in the mud. I said, Coach Stallings, my name is Mark McMillian. I'm on scholarship here, and I can remember this vividly. He said, I didn't recruit you. And he said, let me look through my file. And, he saw my scholarship papers there. He said, okay, tomorrow you can come over, with the guys, and, we'll see what you got. And I just remember that practice, man. I really didn't know guys like that, because I was in the walk-on locker room. It was me and Eric Curry. We shared the room, and Brian Hall, and he wasn't playing either. And we're sitting in the room like, bro, are we that bad that we can't get no run? And obviously the rest from there, man, it just resonated. And Coach Oliver, he was honest, man, and he was a tough guy. A lot of people didn't take to his coaching, but I always listen, man. I wasn't trying to ruffle anybody's feathers. I was like, Coach Stallings coached at the NFL level. He knows what he's talking about. And between him and Bill Oliver, and we know, man, we used to see Coach Stallings walk over there to our drills, and Bill Oliver, he's just back on up. He's like, I don't know what he was saying under his breath, because it's a friendly show.
You can say whatever you want to, man. You can say whatever you want to.
Not a family-friendly show.
Yeah.
Well, I know my mama out there listening, because she always says, he's on tease cake.
There you go.
So she do be listening, and I was like, man, just being able to be with the guys, man. We had a really good, tight-knit group of guys, and there was no egos in our meeting rooms, man. It was a real good brotherhood. And when they say, we're family for life and stuff like that, man, we competed every day in practice. And I saw somebody tweet out the other day, like, where was Antonio Langham? I was like, man, he couldn't even get in. And I think he started diving back. Right. Mm-hmm. We knew he was going to be special. It was like, man, this kid is special. We had, I think it was him, David Palmer, Sherman Williams. I think that class, man, they had a really good recruiting class that they brought in. But man, I was like, man, this is the golden opportunity for me to to shine. And obviously 2 years started there, and
So what did draft day look like for you? Yeah, what did that look like for you? How did that play out?
It was stressful, man. And I knew, I was like, man, okay, all SEC, we had the number one defense in the secondary in the nation. We played man to man probably 90% of the time. So, we were already prepared if you did make it to the next level. Playing man to man on the island in big time games, it was nothing for us. And, went to Town Creek with Saran Stacy, with him and his family. He got drafted in the second round and he was all excited. And I'm thinking like, hey, okay, well, we go back to T-Town and, I was staying with my volleyball friends, Andrea and Ellen and Julie. And just like, man, day 2 went by, no call. Day 3 goes by. I'm like, man, let me just go shoot some hoops. So I went to the basketball court and, there was Robert Ory, Spreewell, Hollywood, Robinson. They were in the gym. And, Hollywood, if you know him, he's always joking. And, he runs in, he's like, man, I heard you got drafted. And I'm thinking like, how the hell are you here? We ain't got no cell phones. And he was like, oh, I'm just joking, man. I'm just joking. You ain't got drafted yet? And I was like, man, I got pissed. So I just went back to my hotel, my apartment, and just sitting there looking at ESPN and looking at the ticker. I'm like, man, these dudes, there's no way these DBs are better than me. And the phone rings, and it's like, hey, it's the Philadelphia Eagles. We want to draft you, and I'm thinking like, man, somebody playing on the phone. So I hung up the phone. So then I'm like, okay, I'm looking at the ticker, and I saw my name go by on the bottom. I'm like, is that? And then the phone rings immediately again, and it's like, hey, this is Rich Kotay from the Philadelphia Eagles. We want to draft you in the 10th round. And I was like, what? So after that point, man, I was zoned in, man. I was ready to get it done, and I got there with all my suitcase, all my luggage. I was like, there's no way I'm going back to Alabama. There's no way I'm going home without making an NFL team. And I walk in, and Reggie White, I can hear his voice now, man. He's like, whose little kid is this in our locker room? And I'm like, wait a minute. He was a minister. So I said some things that people can probably read my lips. You mother. I was like, man, this dude he don't know me like that. And, obviously, he ended up being a really good friend of the family. My mom really loved him. He always looked out for me. And just that draft day, man, was just so stressful. Just not knowing. I can vividly remember, before our pro day, Ozzie Newsome coming in. I step on the scale. I think I probably like 145, 148 or something like that. And he's like, man, you're too small. You're never going to make it. And I'm saying to myself, like, damn, Ozzie, if anybody, I'm supposed to look out for Bama boys. And, and every time we played against them, man, I made sure I let them have it. And he was like, man, we sure did mess up on that one. I said, you're right. 31 other teams messed up too. But, so it just worked out like that, man. But draft day, man, it's special, man, for anybody that goes through that experience. Obviously, George, his phone rang a lot earlier than my phone.
It rang earlier than I thought it was going to. I would say that because I was not expecting it to ring. I probably was sitting more like you, getting ready to want to go eat and drink and do something else because I wasn't expecting to ring. So when my bag phone rang, I almost thought that was kind of a prank too. But hey, listen, man, that is awesome stuff, man. I really do appreciate that. We could do this. So one of the things I want to lighten up before we go into a break really quick, because, we've talked a lot of serious stuff right here, but I want you to tell us about this grill, man, Grilling McMillian. What you got going on with this? Yeah, what you got, man? Tell us a little bit about that.
That football. Let's talk about this grill, baby.
Yeah, what you got?
I've been grilling for a while, man, and just kind of obviously with COVID hit, everybody's been restricted to their homes, and you can't go out and dine. And so I was like, man, let me just start fixing up some stuff in the kitchen and just start grilling. And it just kind of just took off from there, and teamed up with these guys, Scott and Mike over there in Chicago, with a company called Happy to Meet You. You can check them out, happytomeetyou.com. And if you need some prime steaks, some prime beef, some pork. Oh, wait, now you see now you got my hands moving right now. But it just kind of took off, man, and formulated my website. It's grillmcmillian.com. I have a flavor pack on there that's $129, the 29, and I also got a 29-ounce steak on there.
29 ounces.
29 ounces, baby. 29 ounces.
Wow.
I was so to my guys, I was like, shoot, good thing I didn't have like Ronnie Lott number 42. It's been 42 ounce steak.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah, man. And I see George, and we were going back and forth through the whole COVID. He broke out his Star Grill, and people were just trying to put us together and try to make a battle out of it. I was like, man, we too cool for that. We're not gonna go buy into no Twitter beef. Like, we just cooking it. If he got a good meat, I got good meat on the grill. We all good. So, man, it's going good, man. The flavor packs are selling really good. Teamed up with this really good company as well, man. So, it's not a sealed deal, but it's a good cider company called Ace. They're out of California. Fry Ranch. I told you guys, man, it's the bourbon. I'm gonna hook you guys up, man.
Yes, sir. I need it.
And I got one, man. It's crazy. I had a great meeting today with this wine company, and it's called Weed.
Weed?
So when you say, but it's weed, but it's weed sellers.
Give me some of that weed, huh? Nah, bro. I can't even I can't call you back for no weed, bro.
Yeah, it's a great company out of California, man. And it was crazy. I was like, well, weed? I was like, what was my mom about that? But then it's actually wine, but it does get your attention when you say, hey, you want some weed? And people are like, weed? Weed sellers, like, some wine. So, it's a really good company. So working on that as well. So I got a lot of good stuff working, man. And I'm excited about it, man. Just a new journey and being able to feed people and, bourbons and cigars and wine. I never thought I would be in that space. But, I know George, he always talks about, when he talks about, what are you going to do? What is your plan after football? And, when we're playing, we don't have a plan. We just think we're going to play forever. And now seeing my brother with his show, being the athletic director of a really good program that's putting out some really good D1 talented kids. And I know, speaking with college coaches, when I tweet out some of his kids' highlights or film, and I was like, man, you don't even have to question if you're getting a good quality kid, because he's coming from a program that's a good quality guy that's leading the program. So those kids that do play for his school, man, I don't know if they really realize who's their head coach and who's their athletic director, who's leading that program. But when you can have a guy with his character, his DNA, and his background, that speaks volumes, man. And congratulations to all the success that you're having over there at the school, man. If you're a kid and you're tweetling about, I don't know about, going over there to John Paul, man, they'll get you hooked up, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We got some DBs too. So, hey, and we're going to talk a little bit about that a little bit later. But listen, hey, for all y'all are listening, we're going to keep Mark on, man.
Man. Come on, pull up, man. Pull up a chair. I got some of this old.
I'm
got that
crawfish chowder. That's right. Yes, sir. So we're going to keep Mark on after the break. He's going to come back and stay on with us, be a little co-host with us for the remainder of the show.
I got you, man. Everybody out there that's tuning in, man, push your comments out there. Ask some questions to my man, GT. Lamar Thomas, I know you out there. You're probably listening. Man, I can't get enough of hearing that highlight, baby.
Y'all need to leave the comments. You know why? Because we put out there. Mark McMillian is gracious enough that he's going to sign some autographs for someone over here in these comment sections, so we can see everything. And those of you that are putting out here, he's taking notes and marking it down. And at the end of it, he's going to choose some Philly fan. I know there's a hashtag Philly out there, or whatever it is, hashtag Chiefs Kingdom, something. We're gonna have to get that little hashtag Roll Tide in there too, just so I can give away a mini helmet too. So y'all just make sure y'all stay tight in here. We'll be back just in a little bit. All right.
ProfoundSites.com for your personal and commercial needs. Websites built, prepared, secured, maintained, and found. Brent Thomas and ProfoundSites.com provide e-commerce development, website development, online marketing, web, mobile, and e-commerce consulting. With over 10 years experience, Profound Sites is responsible for creating GeorgeTeague.com, where you can hear Teague's Take with George Teague every week. Brent Thomas and Profound Sites can take you through the entire pain-free process of building your new website. From initial discussion to planning, design, to coding and making your site live and discoverable on the internet. Contact Brent Thomas at ProfoundSites.com or email him at brent@ProfoundSites.com.
Hey, sports and sports memorabilia fans, this is IndyCar Tim. I want to talk to you about our new friend Chris Gordon over at the Cowboy House, cowboyhousesports.com on the web. Now, Chris is super passionate about all sports, and that's why the Cowboy House is so much more than just a Dallas Cowboys sports memorabilia store. He's got unique game-used memorabilia and rare, hard-to-find autographs for teams across the globe. Everything from the NFL, MLB, NHL, NBA, golf, UFC, soccer, Olympics, even from Hollywood and the political sector. And his store isn't just a fancy mall store. It's more of a man cave that he likes to share with his friends and customers. Come on into the store at 209 South Shady Shores Drive, Suite 200 in Lake Dallas, and you can walk on the Texas Stadium end zone turf. You can sit in a chair from Yankee Stadium or Texas Rangers Globe Life Park. Check out hundreds of autographed jerseys from hundreds of teams. Check out thousands of photos signed with certificates of authenticity. He's also got custom framing for all of your sports memorabilia items. Chris Gordon over at cowboyhousesports.com, 214-551-5978. Thank you, Cowboy House.
Need a one-stop shop for Cowboys news happening over at the Star in Frisco? Click on over to cowboyssi.com, featuring Mike Fisher with 30 years experience covering America's team. It's the most popular of all Sports Illustrated sites and home to the Cowboys Blitzcast podcast. Cowboyssi.com is the place to get inside your Cowboys. With such a talented team of writers and reporters over there, you'll always know the latest about personnel and roster moves, salary cap issues, and draft class status. Click on over to cowboyssi.com and get the inside scoop on America's team.
3R Sports Graphics. Hello, everybody. You've probably seen the graphics that are out on social media every week that announce the guest for Teague's Take for that week, as well as their credentials listed there on the graphic as well. Those come from our good friend Tyler Sanders over at 3R Sports Graphics. Now, he only works for schools, so we need to mention that. Some of his proud schools are Liberty Christian, Parish Episcopal, Legacy Christian, and Fort Worth Christian. These are custom graphics for your school's athletic department. Hire Tyler Sanders and 3R Sports Graphics, and you will work one-on-one with a graphic designer. You will get final score graphics the night of the game, unlimited graphics with a 1-year contract, and you can fulfill the sports information director role of a school, but for a fraction of the cost. And he will handle this for you every week. He puts it out on social media for you as well. He handles that. Give Tyler Sanders a call with 3R Sports Graphics, 713-933-9767, or you can shoot him an email, tsanders2405@gmail.com. Tyler Sanders, 3R Sports Graphics, on Twitter at 3R Sports and the number 1. And check out his Twitter feed. He's got all of the examples. You can scroll through his feed and look at all of the graphics as he's done for everybody. Tyler Sanders, 3R Sports Graphics. Give him a call now. Thank you, Tyler. Hello, everybody. Welcome back into Teague's Take. We're enjoying some time with NFL great, Mighty Mouse himself, Mark McMillian. Don't forget to unmute yourself, guys, before you start talking. We want to welcome everybody again to the second half of the show. Everybody on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope. We love these comments that are rolling in. We're trying to get to as many of them as we possibly can. We appreciate everybody here. As George mentioned before the break, we're going to have some giveaways. George, why don't you cover that again, how people are going to be eligible for these giveaways?
Yeah, so as you guys just heard, one of our sponsors, the Cowboy House, is donated a mini helmet for me to sign to be able to give away. So I'll be going through these comments. The only way you're going to be eligible is you got to put something over in there. Give us a roll tide, ask a question or something right now, and we'll make sure we mail that out later. And Mark graciously just came up and said, hey, man, I'll sign something for your listeners as well. So, if you want one of those pictures of him and the Eagles, man, I got to talk about the Eagles today with this dude, man. Y'all don't understand what I have to listen to about this. I deal with the Chiefs well enough. I can deal with that. But when he always hit me, him and this other dude named Sean, Zaglinski. I don't know if he listening or whatnot, but they always sending me something about this. So, let's y'all just keep it rolling, man. Make sure y'all hit those likes, give us the laughs, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. Because we're thankful for that. But I know we got something we need to get to now, right? With JT.
We do. We got an intro for you too, JT, like I promised. You ready for this?
And now it's time for America's favorite segment, Money Matters with JT.
Yeah.
Who did this? Whose voice is this?
I'm a radio guy.
Oh, well, I appreciate it. Well, this topic is brought to you by profoundsites.com. We're going to talk about the Rose Bowl and what may be happening to the Rose Bowl this year. So we know that the state of California is currently on lockdown, and this means that they are not allowing fans to any sporting events. This is why the San Francisco 49ers had to, or I shouldn't say had, well, I think they did. They had to play in Arizona for their home game because they had restrictions on how many people could be at the facilities and whatnot. And as the Rose Bowl is approaching on New Year's Day, there has been talk about whether the Rose Bowl is going to be played in Pasadena or potentially moved somewhere else. In a landing spot is actually Arlington, Texas. Of course, could you believe that they would move it to Jerry World? There's been a little bit of controversy in this because, one, of course, everybody's pointing the blame at the SEC and the ACC, saying that they're trying to get the Rose Bowl moved. And the commissioner of the SEC has denounced this, saying basically, hey, look, all the commissioners of their respective conferences sit on the playoff committee, so they all have to weigh in on this. He's acting as a chair of the committee, not as the commissioner of the SEC when it comes to these talks. However, where the controversy lies is they want players' families to be able to watch them because this year it is a playoff matchup. This is not just your average or not your regular New Year's Six game. This is a playoff game. So they want the players' families to be able to watch the game. But the Rose Bowl and all of its trademarks are actually owned by the city of Pasadena. So what that means is if they move the game, it cannot be called the Rose Bowl, nor the Tournament of Roses. But what most ADs and other people in the playoffs are wondering is if they move the game, does it hurt the brand? Because then the Rose Bowl is just another game in a different stadium. And as much as the Rose Bowl is the only reason that the playoffs don't start on New Year's Day, right? The Rose Bowl will not move on a different day other than the first, especially because of their parade. So I wanted to grab ideas on what do you think they should actually do with the Rose Bowl? Does it actually hurt the brand to not play the Rose Bowl, but play the Rose Bowl somewhere else and just not call it the Rose Bowl?
Man, it's 2020. The COVID, everything has to be different. They need to move the damn Rose Bowl, man. People need to be able to come watch the game if they choose to want to come and watch the game. Now, I'm going to come from a player perspective right here, just for a moment, right? I think one of the things about the bowl game that we all loved as players was the experience, the atmosphere, the things that kids, these athletes, need to have when they go through this. So if they can't give them the experience there in California because of their rules and someone else will allow them to have a different experience, we need to let them do that. Damn the brand or whatever it is. This 1 year, everybody kind of knows what's happening. Everybody understands they're not going to lose any money. They're not going to lose. I mean, long term, they might lose some money in the short term here. But they're not allowing fans to come in anyway, so they're not going to be making any money. They're going to lose. There ain't going to be no concessions. There ain't going to be no marketing. They're still going to be on TV. Whatever. It's a playoff game. Man, give it up, man. You got to let it move. Let Jerry Jones do what he does. Let him make that money so he can get a bigger yacht and all that other kind of stuff. Go bring it on down here to Texas. Let's have it. Give me 1 or 2 tickets so me and JT can go and watch it as well, whoever ends up in it. And
hey, what am I, chopped liver?
Oh, no. You already got tickets. You're on the media pass. You got a DSP media group. Huh?
Not in 2020. They don't have those.
So, I think that's my thought. What do you guys think? I think they need to go ahead and move it.
This isn't unprecedented. They moved the Rose Bowl in 1942 because of the attack on Pearl Harbor, literally like 2 or 3 weeks before the game was to be played. The United States banned large gatherings on the West Coast because they were still afraid there might be more attacks along the West Coast from Japan. So they moved the game to North Carolina in 1942. So they've done it before under, again, trying circumstances, which is kind of what we're dealing with now. They could still call it the Rose Bowl back then, and it still counts as a Rose Bowl game because branding with the city and the game wasn't then what it is now. So if they move it this year and they can't call it the Rose Bowl, it'd be the first time since 1915 that there hasn't been an actual Rose Bowl game. But you know what? Like you said, George, this is 2020. So what? You got to have fans. You got to have family members there, or you're robbing some of these kids of their only chance to have this experience. And we mentioned AT&T Stadium. They're also talking about playing it out at the same stadium. Wallace Wade Stadium in Durham, just for old time's sake. It's a much smaller stadium, but you can't have a huge crowd anyway. And, of course, they're throwing out AT&T Stadium. So, by all means, absolutely, yes, you friggin' have to move the game. It will not be in Pasadena this year. If it is, it's stupid, and they're all idiots.
I agree with everything that you guys are saying. There's nothing off the table as far as this year. Everybody's got to adjust. Everybody's got to move on. Everybody's got to work together. Like you said, the Rose Bowl is the granddaddy of them all. It ain't going to hurt the Rose Bowl if they play there this year or if they don't play there this year. If some of these guys are seniors, if they're following the right protocol, make sure the parents are tested. Everybody's getting tested. Give these kids an opportunity or a platform to be able to go out there and perform. I thought what was really exciting last night was more than Lamar Thomas said with the game was having the fans. You can actually feel it, the energy in the stadium, and you can see the players. They kind of feed off that. And when you have a playoff game or you're going for a national title, I've never been in a situation, even A-Day game we had thousands of fans. So I can't imagine playing a national championship game or a playoff game with so much at stake with no fans in the stands, So, whatever they can come up with, you have to have some way. Heck, they had the Errol Spence fight there in Cowboy Stadium, and, it was a packed crowd. They had everybody social distancing. They followed all the rules and protocols, and, end up being a really good showing. And if, obviously the Rose Bowl is going to be all right. You're not going to – the Tournament of Rose Parade is off as well. Nobody's talking about that. There ain't no Rose Parade, So, that's the first time in a long time as well. So, if they can move the game and where it's going to be safe, for everybody, man, let's get it going. Let these guys have an opportunity to go fly around and have their parents, man. Some of these kids haven't seen their parents, man, since this hit. They can't go home. They're Zoom calling and FaceTiming their parents, and for some of these kids, man, just on the mental state of not seeing your mom or your child or your significant other has to play on these guys for, man, just listen to the Ravens like they got to go on Zoom calls. There's no team meetings, and it's just everything is just crazy. And I just imagine a 19 or 20-year-old kid, not being able to, see your mom for so long, or your mom come to a game, or, so get over it. College football is all about money and politics anyway. Spend that money and, put these guys in a safe environment that they can go out there and compete.
You know, all of the teams that are going to play it, that are possibly can play in it, Ohio State, Clemson, Notre Dame, Alabama, Texas A&M, they're all way closer to A&T State.
Hold on. Wait a minute.
Texas A&M.
I can throw that in there. I said possibly could play in it. That's all I'm saying.
Texas A&M. I don't even know why they up in there. We beat the brakes off of them so bad.
Yeah, we'll get to them in a little while, but
They're all
yeah.
closer to A&T State than they are Pasadena anyway. Why make the kids travel that far when nobody's going to get to watch them play? That's just ludicrous.
Right. And they're going to be quarantined. So what? They fly in the day before the game and play the game the day before the game. You know, that's a long trip. Now, if this wasn't happening, obviously, you know, the Rose Bowl is a really great experience. You know, I had the opportunity to watch the Alabama win the national championship there. I was hoping that things would clear up so I get a chance to go see them because I'm on the West Coast. But, you know, if they can go play in Dallas, I see somebody's talking about on Facebook, talking about they should move it to Bryant-Denny Stadium.
That is awesome.
I got an additional question because I just thought about this. So the Pac-12 is they are making contingency plans for their championship. They've already had something come into effect where they had USC. It was supposed to be a matchup between USC and Washington, and Washington got hit with the COVID bug. So Washington deemed themselves not able to play, and they took the second place team in the division, which is Oregon. So now Oregon will take that spot to play USC in their championship game. And if for some reason USC cannot play, then Colorado will step in as the representative for the Trojans. So do you think that if something were to happen to a playoff team, that they should pull somebody in to play the game, or should they classify it as a forfeit or a vacation, one of the two, and then just let the other team straight into the national championship?
Isn't there something in place for this that's in writing when they decided on COVID? I mean, I don't know the answer to that. I'm asking.
I don't know either. And the reason I don't think that it is only because they waited until literally the last week of the season to decide what they were going to do with the Rose Bowl when they had an entire season to figure this out.
That's because they don't want someone to lose on accident.
That's the Pac-12. That's the Pac-12.
Yeah, they don't want someone to lose on accident. But I think the rules are that you're supposed to move up the next person. And whether or not, I mean, it's going to be what we talk about here in a minute, you know, about people changing rules all the time at the last minute, right? So maybe we'll go ahead and move on right into that, you know, we're talking about the Pac-12 changing rules. What about the Big Ten changing rules, trying to get Ohio State in?
I don't have so much of an issue with them changing the rules and, you know, changing it from 6 games to 5 games. And I know that's what we're talking about, but I have more of a problem with them letting them in the playoffs only having played 5 or 6 games when everybody else has played 9 and 10. Yeah. That's my bigger issue with this. You know, let them into the conference championship. That's fine. You're still only going to have played 6 games, even if you win. Everybody else has played 9 and 10. You've had 4 less chances to lose than everybody else that's in the tournament.
So I'm just going to play devil's advocate, kind of like what JT was saying before. What are we trying to get out of the playoffs? You know, we had the discussion later. Are you trying at this point, just in 2020, are you trying to get the best teams in there? And is that determined by number of games? Or, you know, are we just kind of going with, well, they play more games and they're really not as good. Cincinnati or whoever is not as good as Ohio State. So should they just get bumped in just because they played, you know, they're undefeated, but they're probably not nearly as good. You know, that's just the question I ask myself when it comes.
Yeah. So, Mark, the question that I posed the last time we talked about this was, is the playoffs, the college football playoffs, supposed to be the 4 best teams or the 4 most deserving teams? Because if it's the 4 most deserving teams and you agree with that, then I totally get the Ohio State shouldn't be in the playoff. But if it's the 4 best teams, then I would say, like, it only took me 2 games to find out that the Cowboys were bad. It took me 2 whole games to realize.
It took you 2? It didn't even take me 1 game.
Yeah. One
Stop,
one was and then two I was like, nah, this the season's over. It's done. So I think you can look at Ohio State and you can say that that's a pretty good football team. And you know that I can list a whole bunch of teams that are in the like 6 to 15 range that I think that Ohio State is better than. And I keep picking on Georgia, but if Georgia's going to be in the top 10, that's ridiculous to me. I don't think they're a top 10 team either. But, what do you say about that? Because even with I'm not concerned with the Big Ten changing their rules anyway. The rules that they changed was only a rule for like 9 seconds anyway. Like they made up the rule when they decided to change their mind about the season anyway. But what say you about whether or not they should be in or shouldn't be in, and is it the 4 deserving or the 4 best?
It should be the 4 deserving, 4 best teams. You don't want to say, okay, well, they deserve to win. It's almost like a participation trophy, flag football. Now everybody gets a trophy and everybody gets a little Super Bowl ring. Like, well, they did, they deserve one because they participated. You got to earn that. The SEC guys, they went through a gauntlet. There was no outside teams, and that was the gripe every year. SEC has 2 or 3 cupcake guys on their schedule. You had to play an SEC team every day, every week. And, you had to battle, you had to be ready. And, for Ohio State, what was the big win? I came in, the best team that they beat was what, Indiana? And they should have lost that game. And, I just look at it. Obviously, they got some really good athletes on their team, but if you only played that amount of games and then you throw them in the playoffs with a Notre Dame or a Clemson who's played a full season almost, it can be real dangerous for those kids. They can get away from them real quick. And,
okay, so let me play devil's advocate again. I would then ask, who is Clemson's best win? Because it's not Notre Dame; they lost. Who is Cincinnati's best win? Who is Florida's best win? And considering they just lost to one of the worst teams in the SEC, who is Texas A&M's really who really is their best win? Who's Georgia's best win? Like none of these teams actually have marquee wins, with the exception of maybe you can say, well, Alabama ran the table on them and Notre Dame's run the table on their, but everybody else in big games.
People are going to say Clemson's best game was number 17 ranked North Carolina. Did they play?
And then, they're going to, then they'll say, Notre Dame beat them without, probably the number 1 pick in the NFL draft. So
yeah,
you can play devil advocate.
Coastal Carolina beat a top 15 ranked team, so we putting Coastal in too because they played a full schedule and they beat a top 15 team.
True that.
Well, I don't think people want to see Coastal Carolina play against Alabama or Notre Dame or Clemson. I don't think that would be exciting for the fans. I know the Coastal Carolina players are probably like, yeah, we want the SEC or we want Clemson or everybody wants Bama till they get Bama. And it's like, oh, well, it looked good on paper until, till them boys lined up. So, it's the 4 best teams. And it's a different dynamic this year. Some teams have played 5, some teams have played 10. You look at Alabama, they're getting ready to play in the SEC championship game against Florida, Clemson and, Notre Dame. So there's some teams out there that they still got to battle it out. But, Texas A&M is still there lurking. But Ohio State, who they play this week? I don't even know. Who they play Northwestern in the Big Ten title.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna beat the brakes off of Northwestern.
So let me ask you about this. Let me give y'all some narratives specifically about this because I want to see. We're talking about who needs to be in, right? So let's play some scenarios here. These are hypotheticals, of course, but if it came down to it, right? Alabama, for some reason, lost to Florida. And Clemson loses to Notre Dame.
Clemson's out.
Okay, so who comes in? Is that Does Florida jump if they beat Alabama? Do they get a chance to get back in? You know, are you going to take the SEC champion, or does Florida get to beat Alabama, and Alabama still goes to the playoffs?
Alabama still. I don't think there's any scenario in which Alabama does not make the playoffs, unless they just get like curb stomped by like 50 points. Then you'd say, okay, well maybe something's up. But short of that happening, there's no way that they are the number 1 team, lose to what the committee still says is the number 7 team,
right,
and drop to 5.
Yeah, they wouldn't drop 5 spots anyway, even if it was still during the regular season.
Yeah, but so how far up does Florida go, or does it not matter at all for them? I think I know the answer. I'm just asking.
I don't think it matters.
People to listen.
I don't think it matters.
I mean, A&M would have to lose. Who's number 6 right now?
Number 6 is Iowa State.
Iowa State would have to lose. Florida would have to big.
So that's another one. That's another head scratcher. Iowa State. I was like,
yeah.
Wait a minute.
Right.
What? Iowa.
So
don't they got 2 losses?
Is there a scenario where Texas A&M can get in?
Yes.
There's a scenario where Texas A&M get in. What would have to happen? What Clemson would have to lose?
Yeah, I think Clemson has to lose.
They have to lose.
And either I think 2 teams have to lose. It either has to be Clemson and Ohio State, or Clemson. I don't know. It might have to be Clemson, Ohio State. I don't.
Yeah, because I don't see Alabama losing affects Texas A&M getting in.
No, me neither. Because they're not going to drop farther than 4th anyway.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. And I don't think they really want to play Alabama again either.
No, I don't.
Florida goes to the Shoe Thrower Bowl. That's a good one, Sandcastle. We got to find out who this Sandcastle is. They're hilarious, whoever that is. That's good stuff. Okay, so we're saying Alabama's a lock. Is there a lock out of the ACC?
It might be Notre Dame.
Is Notre Dame a lock? And even if they lose, does that mean Clemson and Notre Dame are in?
Right. I just got a comment from a guy, Darren. He's out there on Facebook. He said this year might have been the best year to go with a 18 playoff. What do you guys think about that?
Well, I was on the show last week saying that it should go to 10, but nobody wants to hear that.
Well, yeah, I think this would have been a year to go to 8 and give it a whirl and a try. Of course, I'm not sitting in the back rooms of how that affects. Does it really affect any bowl games if you go to 8 for some reason? What does it do? I'm trying to think of what negatives could it have to someone to say, okay, what is it?
I got one. This is why it won't happen, or at least won't happen anytime soon. Because just like Alabama they're never going to play UAB. They're never going to play Troy. Alabama would prefer to just pretend that those schools do not exist, especially when, Troy goes and beats LSU and things like that. In this particular scenario, you don't want it, like if you're somebody like Ohio State, you don't want Cincinnati in the playoff, whether you can beat Cincinnati or not. It's that these 2 schools are essentially right up the street from each other. And if Cincinnati can then start telling their players that they have a legitimate shot to go to the playoffs, and it doesn't really matter what Ohio State's doing up the road, like we don't have to play Ohio State. We can do whatever we want to do. And as long as we're good enough, we're going to make it. Ohio State then has to split their recruiting footprint in half with Cincinnati. And
the business
the
side
Big Ten does not want that to happen. They don't, if you're Arkansas, you don't want Arkansas State winning their conference and getting an automatic bid, because then it's like, well, why go to Arkansas and be at the bottom of the SEC and not make the playoffs when you can just go to Arkansas State, win your conference, and get a shot? ADs don't want that to happen. Head coaches don't want that to happen. Commissioners don't want that to happen.
Well, then that's why we know there's not going to 18 playoff time ever. Because
it might go to an 18 playoff, but it won't be. It'll still be all subjective. It won't matter too much about, as much as we want to talk about, they strength of schedule, who do they beat, all that kind of stuff. None of that stuff really matters.
It'll just be 3 SEC teams, 2 ACC teams.
Big
Yeah,
Ten.
the Pac-12 will get one in.
Big 12.
The Big 12 will get one in, and then you'll get 3 SEC teams and 2 ACC and a Big 10. After that.
Regents is better than the BCS, though.
I don't, and the reason I don't is because the BCS has the same rankings. It's no different. The BCS standings in the college football playoff are the same. They got the same rankings.
It has the name playoff in it. That makes it better immediately.
Okay. All right. Well, that's a good discussion, fellas. I appreciate that. But I need to go on. Let's talk about Mac Jones in the Heisman. We brought this up a couple weeks ago as well. Does he have a legitimate shot to be a Heisman? And if he doesn't, why not? Those are pretty good odds, right?
Yeah, no, those are very good odds.
I know.
For the first time this year, he is the odds-on favorite after week 14.
Well, if he don't make it, the guy he throwing it to gonna make it.
Well, all right. So my question is, why Mac Jones, or my statement, the reasons why Mac Jones won't win the Heisman, right? Because this is great. I think this does look good, and I think he is a favorite. But is Devontae Smith a problem?
Yes.
For that? Because is he not climbing this rank? Is he going to be on this piece of paper higher than what it is right now for him to be? I don't know how the voting process works, but I'm just wondering if you can split votes,
Yes.
between your guys, and does that hurt the Alabama players if votes are being split between the quarterback and the receiver, and probably even some for Najee? Yeah. Is that a problem? Could that be something that could keep Mac Jones from winning it?
Yeah, so I have 3 recent reasons on I guess 2. There was one thing that helped him, and that was Kyle Trask and the Gators losing to LSU.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that they lost, but that in the first half, Kyle Trask threw 2 interceptions and had a fumble. So for all the Florida fans that may be watching this, and I've been Alabama Twitter and Florida Twitter have been going back and forth nonstop for weeks about which quarterback is better. And they wanted to point at the Arkansas game and say, well, Mac Jones didn't throw any touchdown passes, and all that for Kyle Trask to basically bury himself underground for a half and then try to dig himself out. But like you said, I do think that they split votes. DeMonta Smith, I had his stats pulled up because he had an unreal 4-game stretch. Mississippi State, he had 11 catches for 203 yards, and then he followed that up with 9 catches for 144 yards. And then against Auburn, he had 7 catches for 171 yards, and then LSU, he had 8 catches for 231 yards. It's just unreal what he did over those 4 weeks. And then, if you take out the Tennessee game before that, he had 164 and 167 yards. Devontae Smith has definitely benefited by Jalen Waddle's absence. And I think that hurts Mac in the sense that now that he's spreading the ball around a little bit less, and that Devontae Smith has over 1,300 yards receiving in 3 less games. He's only played 10 games, so that's like 130 yards a game. That hurts him a little bit.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping that it works out. We got another big game here.
It goes to the quarterback.
Well, yes, but I don't know. I just see this being like, what's the last receiver that won it? I'm drawing a blank. Desmond Howard. Mm-hmm. You start returning punts like you did.
He's only returned 1.
Amazing numbers, yeah, but don't think that voter in there is probably sitting here saying, "Well, what if he has another one, in the Florida game or in the."
If he would have been returning, obviously, you got Waddle back there, but he's just showing you a different dynamic and another part of his game. And if you're talking about the best player, I don't think guys look at the film and be like, man, we're just really scared of Mac Jones. But if you're a defensive coordinator, you're like, where is Devontae Smith at all times? Just from a defensive standpoint, you're like, okay, Mac Jones he's persistent. He's not going to turn the ball over. But where's Devontae? Because he changes everything up. They move him around and he makes the whole defense change. When he goes in motion, you can see the whole back end. Those guys are so confused back there. There's like, okay, we were doubling, but now we got to single him. And that guy that's single covering him, Lord help him. But when you're talking about the player that he just brings so much to the game, he changes the game. Almost like George mentioned Desmond Howard. Charles Woodson. He was a guy that played defense. He returned punts. They threw him in sometimes with the Wildcat. He put himself in position that he's showing you. Can Mac Jones turn into a scrambling quarterback to be so dynamic? No, he's not. He's not going to do that. But as a defensive back, playing against the San Francisco 49ers, our meeting was like, stop Jerry Rice. It wasn't like, okay, Steve Young, whoa. It was like, where's Jerry Rice? Where's John Taylor? And I'm sure in that meeting room when Florida goes in, it's not like, oh my gosh, we just got to really key in on Mac Jones. It's where's Devontae Smith at? And that's what we're going to game plan around.
Well, I want to ask. So there were two more things that I forgot. One is I don't know I guess I'm going to make a case for Devontae Smith here because Mac has thrown for 3,300 yards, and 1,300 of those yards are Devontae Smith's. So almost half of the man's yards are going to one guy, and he's thrown for 27 touchdowns, and Devontae Smith has 15 of those, so over half of those are also Devontae Smith's. But I think the other thing that's hurt Mac is that throughout the media and even other players keep calling him a game manager, and he's fine with that. Heisman quarterbacks don't get called game managers.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But I want to ask Tim, because Tim works with some guys I think that actually might have Heisman votes, and I want to know how much film and how many games do they actually watch? Because I feel like, by and large, they have their list of guys that pop off the page, but then they'll say, okay, basically they'll be like, all right, well, who's the one on the best team, and which one are quarterbacks? And then if you have a quarterback and a receiver, you're going to say, well, the receiver has all these yards and he's got all these touchdowns, but the quarterback's got to get him the ball. So my vote goes to the quarterback. Do you think that happens, or do you think they're actually watching and evaluating?
I think it depends on what their background is. Because there's going to be the argument from the receiver standpoint. Well, he's got to catch it. Drops are a big stat these days, and it's tallied and it's brought up during highlights, and you see dropping balls in the pros and college left and right. As far as watching game film on the guys that are Heisman contenders, again, I think it depends on what school they go to. When Alabama's on national TV every week, they have a ton of exposure. You got the guy from Iowa State that's in the talks. Unless you're a Big 12 fan, you really watch a lot of Iowa State football. Now that they're ranked, they've got some exposure on highlights and stuff, and on Sports Center, wherever you watch your highlights at. But for the most part, they're watching the guys that get the most exposure on TV. Now if they're specifically interested in a guy, they're gonna go dig some film up and they're gonna watch. But if you don't have to do that, then why? So I still think they pay the most attention to the guys that get the most exposure without them having to try to find the exposure, which just stands to reason. So, but again, I still think it's going to be an issue with whoever's voting about, splitting the vote between two Alabama guys, which one would you think would be most deserving to put in your top three, which is how they vote for the Heisman. They just vote number one, number two, number three. So I think that's the bigger issue for Mac Jones and for Devontae.
So who wins? Everybody. Who is actually going to win this?
The Heisman?
I'm picking Devontae Smith. You know, he's the best college football player out there.
Okay, that's fair. I agree with you. But let me rephrase my question just in case you want to change your answer.
No, I'm not changing.
Not who do you think, not who do you think should win? Who is going to win?
Oh, who's going to win?
Yes, not who you think should win. Who is going to win?
And this might change after the championship rounds. I do think, I don't know. I'm looking at these percentages and odds. I'm still not really figuring out how, I don't know. I call him Nature Boy or whatever it is. I don't know how people don't vote for Trevor Lawrence still, you know. There's just another piece. I think Mac Jones should win, or I'm with Mark on who I think I should win. Should be Devontae Smith, who I think is going to get it. Ooh, today, I think it's going to be predicated on how these games go on the 19th or 18th, whatever days the championship games are, because it could sway a little bit. If something goes bad with Mac Jones, Trevor Jones does something crazy against Notre Dame, man, it's too tight. It's too tight.
Yeah, it is tight.
Mm-hmm.
And
The
like
Fields,
said,
man.
SEC
2 weeks ago,
game is-
2 weeks ago, I was saying I thought they were trying to give it to Justin Fields. You know, he ain't even played like it's the same thing. He ain't played enough games. I know he can play, but I don't think he should be up in there like that. It's not fair. He's not deserved. Whatever you want to call it. I don't think he should be. He hadn't had the full body work like these other guys. Mac Jones.
I mean, he is a long shot. He's like I don't know what Tim's graphic said, but the one that I have from Vegas Insider has him at plus 4,000. So, all right. So mine is saying he's got twice the odds, or he's twice of a long shot, but plus 2,000 is basically saying they don't think he's getting it.
Yeah.
The same way with Devontae. That's why, I mean, I think we're on point with this Mac deal. And just, you know, when I first sent this out to you guys, now I'm getting into our personal business, right? I sent this out to you guys and I just asked a question. Mac Jones, as he wins the Heisman. What did you guys say? Or what did Tim say immediately? Or I don't know if it was Tim or JT.
Yeah, Tim. It was Tim.
Yeah. No, he won't win it because he plays for Alabama. Right? And, quarterbacks don't win the Heisman from Alabama, right? Would this be the first ever? Have we had a quarterback out of – no, I don't think so.
No, not a Heisman winner, because the first Heisman winner was Mark Ingram.
Yeah,
but
Mark Ingram had to go running backs.
McCarron did finish second.
Yep.
So did Tua.
Well.
And Tua was close. I don't know how close A.J. McCarron was. Honestly, when I saw that, I was like, can't believe A.J. McCarron was second in the Heisman. That's
seems like an off year.
Okay, so let me give you a way on how we're going to go to a break. I think Mac Jones can win it because Gino Toretta won it. There we go. Let's go to break, fellas.
Gino can win it. You have won the Heisman, though. Come on now.
I'm just
saying.
Right.
We'll be back right after this.
Inside your home, noticing all the little things needing attention? Let Repair Resource be your one trusted contractor to tackle all of your home repair needs. They do it all: electrical, plumbing, drywall, painting, and flooring of all types. They can even handle your exterior needs, like fencing, patio covers, concrete pads, and decking. No job too big or small. Repair Resource does it all. Call them at 972-415-1198 or visit them online at www.repair-resource.com.
Hey, this is IndyCar Tim. I want to talk to you about the Maverick Bar and Grill in Carrollton, Texas. It's North Dallas's premier sports bar and grill located at 1616 West Hebron Parkway. It's 16 minutes from just about anywhere in the DFW Metroplex. With all of the live action on dozens of TVs and the big screen, it's the place to hang out and watch the return of sports with all your friends. Friday and Saturday nights, you'll find the best live music in DFW right there at the Maverick Bar. And of course, on Thursday nights at 6 p.m., you'll find Teague's Take broadcasting live with Alabama and Cowboys legend George Teague. Come hang out and be part of the show. Check out the Maverick Bar and Grill in Carrollton, 972-492-7500, or on the web at themaverickbar.com.
Meat Church. Do you need to take your barbecue and grilling game to the next level? Check out the great line of products from Meat Church Barbecue. From seasoning and rubs to full-blown recipes like pork belly burnt ends, smoked queso, beef ribs to smoked bologna, and Texas-style brisket, Meat Church has what you need. If your barbecue and grilling game is lacking, check out their barbecue classes and events. They'll help you raise your game to impress your friends and family. If you're in the Waxahachie area, please check out their store at 205 West College Street or give them a call at 214-980-1063 or head on over to meatchurch.com for locations near you where all their great products are available. Or order directly from them online at meatchurch.com.
Welcome back into the show. We appreciate everybody sticking around here with us. We're about to wrap things up for this week's Teague's Take. We appreciate Mark certainly popping on here with us and staying on here with us for this amount of time. I'm not real sure how he's tolerated all of this jib-jab here, but he even let me reference Texas A&M. And I guess it's fair, though, George, because he was an Eagle and a Redskin. So I guess we'll let him hang out here. I think y'all got yourselves muted still. There we go. George, you got yourself muted. There you go.
Yeah, my fault.
Hang around.
I am glad. Hey, Mark, before we move on a little bit, why don't you tell everybody what your how they find you on social media, just in case we got some new people out here who want to come follow you. Where do they find you on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and all the other things you got?
Oh man, Facebook is just my name, Mark McMillian. My Instagram is McMillian29, McMillian 29. Also have my Camp 29 site is Mighty MC 29. It's 2 Instagram accounts. And if you're looking for some good quality meat, baby, holla at your boy at GrillinMcMillian.com. I got that flavor pack for you. I got some fillets. I got some T-bones. I got some chicken wings. I got some ground beef. You get that flavor pack, man, and I throw in an autographed picture for every pack that I've sold from my guys in Chicago from Happy to Meet You. So GrillinMcMillian.com, man, we blowing up. And also Twitter, it's Mark McMillian29. I got like all kind of Twitter handles, man. So I got my hands in all kind of things. But, Mark McMillian29 is my main handle. But so if you're out there, if you're looking for a nice Christmas gift, GrillinMcMillian.com, get that flavor pack. It's only $129. Now you're gonna go to Kroger and get that old Kroger meat, and you can go on and get yourself some nice little Grilling McMillian prime beef from Chicago, baby.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Tim, we're gonna have to make sure we put a graphic together with all them handles he got over there.
I couldn't even keep up with all that.
I know. We try to type them in and post them up here, man. Good Lord. Well, y'all make sure y'all follow him. Well, you're doing big things, man, and I hope that everyone goes to give you a follow. If y'all hadn't seen his food, I promise you. And we cook and grill a little bit different, as they say. There's a lot of things we do similar, but someone was asking me, man, should you have a cook-off with him or something? I was like, man, I can't work that kitchen the way he be in that kitchen, man, putting the things on that skillet and all that stuff. So that's not what I do. That's what he does. I can't do that. I'm going out here on the car grill.
Are you a press corner or are you an off corner? I'm an off corner. I'm not a press guy. I'm not a press guy. I'm a playoff, and I'm gonna get there before you get there. But I'm not a press guy.
No, maybe we'll get together and do something for fun, do something for charity one day. I try to think of all different kind of ways we can come together and do something. That would be fun.
Hey, I'm gonna have the wine and whiskey for you guys, man. So I'm gonna definitely have wine. So it's gonna be Weed Cellars.
Hey, so, whatever you do, don't mail me no weed. Whatever you do, don't mail me no weed.
That's a felony.
I think that's illegal. Yeah.
We in Vegas, baby. We in Vegas. I'll make sure my people, once we get everything squared away for Weed Cellars, I'll ship you guys out, some wine, so you guys can sit down with your family, some nice little bourbon for my guys at Fry Ranch. A nice little company that doing really good things. So just pair it up with them, and maybe I can do a giveaway on your show. Maybe for Christmas, or maybe for the New Year's, to kind of kick in the New Year. Like, hey man, here's a nice glass of wine or nice bottle of some bourbon. So just anything I can do to help your show out, man, get your listeners excited. Because I appreciate the people taking the time to tune in and listen to my story, and for you guys to invite me on, man. I just want to try to do as much as I can, with the resources that I have, man. And that's what it's all about, man. Shows like this, being able to share your stories, use your resources. There's so many people out there that just make it to the top and they forget about everybody else. I'm not that guy, man. I always tell George, man, they took my mom in. They fed my mom, and that's, man, I can never repay him and his, Consuela enough for that. So anything I can do to help build your show, build your brand, help your listeners, whatever I can do, man, I'm on board.
Well, we do appreciate it. We appreciate it. So, listen, we want to talk about some power rankings real fast, and then I got to talk a little bit of trash about our fantasy football league, the street teams, fantasy football league, because I am the number one seed. But let's talk about our top 5 in the power rankings. See how these look different. NFL power rankings, right? So I think I went first last time, and I'm gonna go ahead and go first again. All right, and, let you guys go. So I'm gonna start with a couple honorable mentions, because some of the teams that I do like that I think still have a chance. The Colts, the Browns showed me some stuff. I've always been kind of iffy about them, but they keep doing things. So they've kind of moved up. They're not in my top 5, but I think they're a whole lot stronger right now. The Ravens, they're not in my top 5 either, but I don't know until Lamar Jackson throw the ball a little bit better. I don't know if he's ever going to get in the top 5. And then, of course, I got the Seahawks, because I'm still loving those guys. You never know what Russell Wilson's going to get. That DK Metcalf, man, he scares me just looking at him. So now let me let you get to my top 5. At number 5, and JT didn't like this the last time I said it, but I'm going to say it again. The LA Rams at 9-4. I think they're still showing some things. Mark McMillian, you ain't got to make that face. You ain't got to look at me like that. I'm just saying they're playing some good defense. Jared Goff is he's still trying to do some things a little bit. That's my number 5. At number 4, y'all ready for this? The Buffalo Bills at 10-3. They're still doing some things. I think they're just going to keep getting a little bit stronger and stronger. The defense is actually playing very well as well. This one I had a little bit of hard time with. I know you guys are trying to figure out what the Steelers going to be, what the Saints going to be, and all that kind of stuff, right? I got the Saints at number 3. They're still doing a good job with Taysom Hill in there. Whenever they get Drew Brees back, I think they're going to be rocking and rolling. I was a little upset with the way they played defense the other night, but they're still up there. At number 2, no, it's not the Steelers. The Packers, the Green Bay Packers, for me. Aaron Rodgers, they're just doing their thing, man. They're just Devontae Adams, another beast. Aaron Jones, defense has improved. They're using the tight end a little bit more. They're just looking like firepower right now. And at number 1, those Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, and all those weapons that he has, they're just too much. So 1 Chiefs, 2 Packers, 3 Saints, 4 Bills, 5 the Rams. All right. So tell me why I'm going wrong, or tell me what you guys have. JT, why don't you give us your top 5 first, and we'll let Tim bring it in after that.
All right. Well, I'm going to go top down.
All right.
Because I think there's a revolving door kind of down there at 5. And I'm going to put a tie for first, because I'm not actually sure which team I actually think is better.
So you giving us 5 or you giving us 6?
No, I'm giving you 5.
All right.
1B.
Yes.
Okay.
And the tie is with the Chiefs and the Saints.
Wow.
The Saints are going to be a whole lot better when Drew Brees gets back on the field, and if their defense keeps playing the way their defense is playing, they are going to have another shot to go win a Super Bowl because they're the number 1 seed, and they'll have all their games at home, and that's exactly what they like to do. They play very well in a dome and on turf in New Orleans. A close third would be the Packers, and then the Bills at 4. And I don't know. I really don't know what I want to do with 5.
Cowboys.
It's tough because I'm trying to find what I think is, or who I think is the most complete team, and I think by default I'll put the Rams in there because they earned it. However, I don't think the Rams are actually gonna. I don't know if the Rams are actually gonna make it out of the first round unless they have to play.
Philadelphia.
Nah, I don't think. Because I don't think Philadelphia's making the playoffs. So, yeah, if they have to play the Giants, they'll make it out of the first round. But I think they lose. I think they would lose the football team. I really do.
Wow.
Okay. All right. You surprised me with that one. I thought you might have had the Seahawks in there somewhere, but let's see.
But see, that's why I said it's a revolving door because it's like the Rams, the Seahawks, the Bucks, the Titans, the Browns. They're just kind of all in the same bucket.
Bucks. Oh man. All right.
They're gonna get hot. Watch.
But while Tim's going, Mark, you make sure you take some notes. I don't know if you're writing over there, if you're eating over there, but if you got an input on this, you let us know.
I'm eating. I got my top 5. I'm eating.
All right. Well, let's hear Tim first.
All right. So kind of like JT said there, at number 5, it's kind of revolving door. I struggled with Seattle and LA. The Rams, of course. I've got the Rams. They've got a little more stability to them. The Seahawks just kind of seem to be a little flustered here late in the season. Cam Akers is really coming on. Jared Goff needs a little balancing, and Cam Akers seems to have done that with that offense in the running game. They still got a good defense. So they're number 5 at 9-4. I've got the Saints at number 4 at 10-3. My Saints, they need Archie Manning back right now is what they need. I don't know if Taysom Hill is going to get the job done, but either him or Bobby Hebert. But, the defense had a terrible, terrible game against Philadelphia. They've got the Chiefs next. I'm kind of hoping, I'm crossing my fingers they're not going to experience a Steelers-like fall in the NFC, but they're my number 4 right now at 10-3. Number 3, I've got the Bills. I'm a big Josh Allen believer. He's a couple years away from his $45 to $50 million contract. But man, he is smoking hot right now. He might be in the MVP talk if we ever did that. He's got all sorts of offensive swag with the team in there, and Stephon Diggs. The defense is starting to come up with big plays. Taking down the Steelers and the 49ers in back-to-back short weeks was pretty impressive to me. So at number 2, go, Pack, go.
All right.
Number 3, the Packers. They're putting it all together. Aaron Rodgers, good God, he's my number 1 MVP candidate right now. Matt LaFleur should be coach of the year. The defense is still a little concerning, especially against the run. But, man, when Rodgers is playing like he's playing, I don't even care about the defense. So give me Green Bay at number 2. And, of course, number 1, you're 12-1, Kansas City. Don't call us Dallas Texans Chiefs. They've reemerged as the unquestioned top team in the AFC since the Steelers have faltered here. And even when Patrick Mahomes has an off day, they got too many big plays with defense and special teams, and we saw that against the Dolphins.
Yep. All right, that's good stuff. All right, McMillian, what you got, little Mac?
I'm gonna start from the bottom, and I'm shocked that no one is really giving the Tampa Bay Buccaneers a chance.
I had them in my top 5 last time.
Yeah,
nobody. It was just me though.
I can't count out Tom Brady. I just can't. In playoff games, when it comes down to it, you just can never count this dude out. And they're getting everybody healthy. They got the receiver core, back. It's just really, really tough, to defend that offense. And they got a really good defense. Those guys fly around to the ball, but it's hard to count out the Bucs. I have them at 5. And then the Saints, they do have a really good record, but we don't know how Drew Brees is going to come back. I'm just going on what we see right now is just an average football team led by a average quarterback. The defense, we know they're going to show up. And when you go on the road and you play against a depleted, unmotivated, they were motivated this week, Philadelphia Eagles team, I picked the Saints to go in there and roll them up. But then I'm looking like Taysom Hill he's not a guy you're going to be like, okay, Drew Brees goes down, the Saints are done. So I got them at 4. I got the Green Bay Packers at number 3. Aaron Rodgers does what Aaron Rodgers does. And obviously on the defense side of the ball, they know that they're going to score some points. So those guys just have to hold on, hold the team up under, 21 points, because Aaron's going to put up points. That offense is ridiculous. And, so I got them at number 3. And then number 2 is the Buffalo Bills.
Up to 2,
They
huh?
have been playing really good all year, and I was a big fan of this young man, Josh, from the beginning. He went through some growing pains. He's got a big arm. He's got swag. He's tough mentally. He'll try to run DBs over, and guys feed off that for a quarterback that can give you that kind of production. And like you mentioned, Stephon Diggs is a number 1 guy. He's a guy that you got to know where he's at all times. And then obviously the number 1 pick is the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, I'm still always nervous the way they start off games. They start off real slow. They let teams hang around. And I don't think that's really good, going forward. You look at a Tennessee Titan team who's not in my top 5, but that's going to be a grind out game if they end up having to play those guys, because they're going to run the ball and they're going to take a lot of time off the clock. And that's going to sit Patrick Mahomes on the sideline for a long time. So somewhere along the line, these guys got to turn the switch on from the opening coin toss and not let teams just jump out on them like that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. That's good stuff. And I'm glad you said that name. I know we were supposed to talk a little bit about MVP, but we're not. But I want to say Derrick Henry got to be in the conversation he's my number 1 going into this for
I've got him. He's my number 3 right now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I think he's pretty good. You're cracking me up over here.
As a defensive player, he's number 1, because I ain't trying to see
that. you want to be Richard Sherman, huh?
I can knock down Patrick Mahomes or Rodgers, but I ain't tackling no Derrick Henry.
Now I have to go back and look and see if
there's January when it's cold either.
Hey, there ain't no film out there you getting stiff on like Richard Sherman and nothing like that, is it?
No, man. My son was saying that. My son was joking the other day. He's like, "Man, Dad, people are always sending me your highlights." He's like, "Thank God you never got stiff for him like that."
That's right. Well, let me have me a little bit of time to be able to talk about a couple of our street team members in here. We play a little bit of fantasy football. A lot of people support us to help us put this thing together. And this is the way the championship bracket played out, with the real Slim Shady being the 1 seed. Y'all know who that is, a.k.a. George Teague. That will be me. Number 2, Swela with the swag. That is Consuela. So both of us went in with a bye. How about that? The husband-wife team putting it together, going in with the buys. There was another Teague that was involved in this league. You can find him at Teague 13. He didn't make the championship bracket this time. So yeah, collusion. I see that collusion. But anyway, so the biggest trash talker in the league, his name is Brent Thomas. He came in as a 6th seed. He got lucky and got in instead of JT getting in. But he just got drove by Ric Flair, knocked him out. You know why he lost? Because he's a Miami Dolphin fan. I'm sorry. That's just the way it is. He likes the Miami Dolphins. And then baby got Dak. Y'all know her. She was on Clara Russell. She tends to talk a little trash too if you follow her on Twitter at all. But she got hit pretty hard by Ramon Jammer, which is Andrew McAllister. All these guys are going to be on our show next week. as well. I'll be talking a little bit more trash. The seating has been realigned. No, it hadn't been realigned. It's going to line up just like this. I'll have Rammer Jammer in the next round. That's going to be a tough matchup. He's got a pretty good team. And Swayler's going to have Ric Flair swag, and we'll let you guys know how that goes to see who makes it to the championship round on week 16. So I appreciate everyone.
Whose baby got back?
His baby got Dak, man. Baby got Dak.
I was like,
Nobody got Dak right now.
Man, what kind of name is that?
You'll see her. All you got is she's a TX Girl 2009 on Twitter. She always replying to you probably at some point in there. She's not a Bama fan. She's not a Bama fan, but she just loves sports, so she's very interactive and all that kind of stuff. She talks a lot of trash, a lot of stuff, but she's a big supporter. She's really helped a lot with this podcast in the beginning, getting it off the same way with everybody else that I named. And there's another large group. So one of the things we're going to do next week, which is going to be great. You know what? I just see Mario Morris just popped in.
Mario, didn't he just get married?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I got to call him because he ain't called nobody and tell nobody that he got married. There go the picture up on the thing right there. So, Rio, I'm calling you because Mario told me that. I'm like, man, I can't believe this dude ain't even called the boy. Get no invite. I would have sent you a gift. I would have sent you a couple of dollars, $2. Because you still owe me
he snuck through the back door on that one.
Yeah, but Mario's doing big things. I believe he's still at Notre Dame as a athletic director up there, one of their athletic directors. So, hey, man, it's a good deal. But anyway, we got a big one next week. We're going to have a packed house. It's just going to be relaxed. I'm going to go ahead and say it right now. Just everybody get your beer out, get your wine or whatever it is.
Get your weed, baby. Get your weed.
Yeah, I was about to say that, but I was like, man, someone might keep that as a quote, man, one of these days.
No, it's wine. All your I ain't selling weed, baby. It's weed sellers. It's a wine. It's a wine. Go to weedsellers.com.
You said weed sellers, so it does sound like you're selling weed. I know it's spelled different, but I just want you to know.
But that's catchy. Dudes be like, yo, this dude slanging weed. Let me see what he got.
Hey, you know what you're gonna get. You know what you're gonna get when you go into Camp 29, baby.
Weed sellers.
You're gonna be carrying the ball high and tight.
4 points of pressure, baby. 4 points of pressure.
Hey, y'all play too much, but hey, listen, the street team's gonna be on. We're gonna do our stuff. We'll just have a good time. Let it down. We'll talk a little bit of stuff, but we should have. I think this thing holds up to 10 cameras, right?
I think so. Yeah. Something like that.
We'll have them all in here. We'll have some of the sponsors, and we're gonna have some of the street team members in here. So it'll be a good time. Just come hang out. Get to see a little bit more about who George Teague is, who JT is, who IndyCar Tim is, and really learn more about who our sponsors are and the people that they really help put this together. Because after I guess we're almost into 6 months, right? Doing this has been really, really good, and we're getting a lot of good feedback and a lot of help, behind the scenes help from just being able to call someone, DM someone from our street team and saying, hey, what do you guys think of this? And they give me just the straight, honest truth and saying, bro, don't do that. Or, yeah, you can do this. And so it's been really, really good. And I just want to say thank you to them publicly and really bring them on, let you guys see who those people are that really make Teague Take happen. So that's it, my brothers. I know we ran a little long, but we love having Mark on here, man. We're definitely going to have you back on, and we're going to do some special stuff with you on another day. We're going to have to bring these grills out and just really show some people what it's going to be like, for fun.
Oh, man. Well, stay tuned, baby. The grills stay hot. Next, in a couple of weeks, man, it's about to be fire. But I need to get everybody's make sure y'all email me y'all information. The people out there that tuned in, that's going to receive those autographs, make sure you guys send that information in to Teague and his staff so we can get that out to you guys. And, people out there that's listening, appreciate you guys supporting the show. This is great, man. I love platforms like this. people being able to tune in and interact and ask questions because, people think that we're untouchable, like they can't touch us. But, we're human just like everybody else, man. We love to talk football, food, and enjoy, hearing the stories from the fans as well. So this is a great platform, man. So if you're out there, if you haven't tuned in, it's your first time tuning in, make sure you tune in to my man T Takes from now on. Or
Yes,
I'm going
sir.
to punch you in the mouth.
Yeah, well, we appreciate it. And we got all these names. I'll get with Mark. I'll let people know. I'll contact. We'll get you guys. Y'all make sure y'all follow me on Team Take or whatnot. I'll announce some winners and make sure that we get you guys the information or get you guys the pictures and the helmet out just as soon as we can. All right. So, Tim, JT, y'all got anything else before we shut it down?
Great show. Appreciate Mark coming on, man. It was a pleasure hanging out with you for a couple hours.
No worries, man.
Absolutely. All right, for everybody that's been a part of this one, we want to thank our sponsors real quick. Meat Shirts, ProfoundSites.com, 3R Sports Graphics, CowboysSI.com, the Maverick Bar in Carrollton, the Cowboy House, and, of course, you can't forget Repair Resource. We appreciate all those boys for helping out however they can. We appreciate everybody commenting. Appreciate Mark being here with us. Until next week, stay safe, everybody.
Oh, JT, you got it. You got it. Hang out for a second, Mark.
Yep.